So it is certainly a pleasure. Again, my name is Tiffany Nelson. I am a former senior MBA admissions director at Emory University's Goizuetta Business School. And today we will talk about and try to demystify this process. This will certainly be high level, but again, if you have any questions, we can certainly address those during the Q&A, which we will leave a little bit of time for at the end. So the quote that you have right now is from Bruce. Bruce is the Dean of Admissions at Yale School of Management, and he just is really talking about overall in general, just about that these are professional programs. And with respect to professional programs, we were looking for, and certainly we're looking for, individuals who would come into our environments and truly want to make an impact. Because again, we're looking for you to be at your best and go out into the world to be at your best. When we're talking about your academic profile, we are looking at your grades in your undergraduate, and if you even have some graduate level coursework, we would want to see those as well. In addition to, of course, academic profiles of your transcripts, that would also include your test scores. I always tell applicants, first and foremost, we were not always looking for perfect grades. That was always a misnomer. So it's not always about the perfect grade, the perfect academic profile, or the perfect test scores. We were looking for students who had, of course, strong academic profiles, have done very well academically, but there was so much more to their academics. There are ways in which to compensate for any gaps or any challenges that you've had academically. For instance, for students who may have lower quantitative test scores on the GMAT, there were opportunities to show that strength possibly during their undergrad or possibly some additional graduate level coursework. So there were ways in which to kind of compensate between all of that. So yes, an academic profile showing strength is also very good. One thing we wanted to see as students progressed through their undergraduate schoolwork, students would sometimes feel that they had concerns because there were fluctuations, if you will, throughout their time. And that was okay as long as we saw that they finished on a high note. So we wanted to see things increase throughout time. So taking on much more challenging courses, grades either maintained or increased over time. Those were really awesome things for us to see. As it relates to test scores, again, they're not the end all be all of the process. However, we certainly wanted to see strength in, of course, the quantitative sections. And again, if that section was a little bit lower for you, possibly taking additional coursework in quantitative math courses to kind of show that there was strength there or compensate for those test scores would certainly help out as well. So the next few slides we'll talk about are what we considered your transferable marketable skills. All right. Of course, again, business school is a professional program, and there are things that we wanted to see that we knew you could bring in, as well as during your time in business school, we can hone, refine, define, develop for you so that on the end of it all, that you would be able to go out into the professional world and take on the career that you most wanted to pursue. So one of those things, in addition to your academic profile, were your leadership qualities. Exactly what are you doing right now in your career? What managerial skills are you taking on? The ways in which to demonstrate this are, of course, in your resume. How have you taken on new projects? Are you managing a team? Have you taken on an initiative? Has there been a promotion or more responsibility? Those are the things we would see in terms of your leadership qualities, and that's how you can present those in your resume and on your resume. So we want to see progression throughout your resume. So typically in your MBA programs, we are looking for individuals with at least 2 years of professional experience. Many individuals say, why 2 years? Because on average, 2 years is where we start to see progression. You've moved from your beginning position and possibly taking on a new or more, or a role with more responsibility and engagement. So a minimum of 2 years was always great. But again, it's about progression. It's about taking on more responsibility, and that's how you demonstrate your leadership. Again, when it comes to work experience, that 2 years minimum was what we were wanting to see, because again, that shows that you've started a baseline of progression and growth and strength. In terms of businesses or corporations and companies, we would see companies from everywhere, very small startups to major corporations and everything in between. We even had teachers apply to business school and were admitted to business school, because again, it takes a lot that we are looking for. We are looking for, again, the progression. We are looking for the strength. We are looking for your ingenuity. We're looking for that leadership, all of those wonderful things. So as you are writing your resume, be sure you are using what we call the action words. Pull those things out. Make sure that you're showing us what you've done and how you've done it, so that as I'm reading your resume, I'm able to really reflect on, okay, this is what this individual has contributed to their work experience and to their work environment. So use those action words so that we could see exactly what you were able to contribute to your work environments. Having career goals, both short and long-term, well-defined, clear career goals is always key. On every MBA application, far, near, and wide, you will have a following question. Please state your career goals, both short-term and long-term. That was a very important question for us. We were looking for them to be well-defined and very clear. It's okay to state definitively, I would like to do X, and that was okay. You wanted to make sure that you had some idea and some understanding of why an MBA program. It is 2 years, 1 or 2 years of a commitment to a program, and we wanted to make sure that when you were admitted, you were going to stay and do well and had some idea of exactly what you wanted to pursue. So clearly defining and stating your career goals were also very important. In addition to that, here's a tidbit. Be sure you address how that MBA program would help you succeed in accomplishing those goals. That's how you wrap that essay up and tighten it up real nice and neat there. So as you're researching the many MBA programs, you want to make sure that if you have specific career goals, tie it back to how it relates to that program. We want to see exactly if this is going to work out, how everything is going to fit and tie together. Have you researched our programs, our courses, our professors, everything that we have? Have you talked to an alum about what you would like to pursue? And make sure that all of that is included in that essay. So again, clear, well-defined career goals really are beneficial. You also want to demonstrate if your path post-MBA will be different than pre-MBA, you want to show us the path there as well. So if you're coming from one career path, the MBA will be your stopping point, if you will. You'll pursue the MBA for those 2 years, obtain the needed skill sets, knowledge, et cetera, and then transition into a new career. Be sure to include all of that as well. We want to make sure that we see what you see. Communication skills are so clear and important. This, of course, goes into such things as the essay, but it also goes into that all-important interview. So practicing your interviewing skills is key. Interviews were so important for us because they gave us an opportunity to see your personality. Who were you outside of work? What did you enjoy? What makes you thrive? What is your passion? It really brought all of that into our facilities and into our environments, because at the end of the day, we're also building teams at the same time. So we want to see how well you communicate. It's okay if you're nervous in the interview, that's fine. We were expecting that, but it's a time for you to just really market yourself, talk about who you are and what you're all about. So that would happen in the interview, whether or not it's with an MBA admissions director or even alums of the institution. So take the time during the interview to really sell who you are and what you're about. The essays are also part of that excellent communication skills. Address the question. That was our biggest thing about the essays. So many times we would have applicants who failed to address the question. beautifully written essays, but they never answered my question. And so we were left wondering a lot about that applicant and that candidate. So we want to spend time on those essays, addressing the question thoughtfully and clearly and being concise. One thing I always tell my MBA applicants, when it comes to the essay, there's actually something else we're really looking for. MBA and business writing is an art form. And so when you are doing that, we are asking you questions with specific word count or character counts, because business writing is truly that. Sometimes you do not have much time to address a question, and we're actually taking a look to see whether or not you have those skills at that time. So there's actually a little bit of reason why those essays are the way that they're written and why they have this exact word count or character count. So you want to stick within that and write exactly what they're asking for. Of course, in addition to your academic profile and your work experience, we want to know what else you've been involved in. What brings your passions to light? What do you enjoy doing? How do you help others? How will you engage others? Will you do this through your work, through your career path? Is that the end goal? Or do you just do this as a volunteer and volunteer your time? That is really important. Many MBA programs have some level of social engagement and social activities and enrichment, and they want to be sure that you too will come into their environment and want to give back to the community. So please also include information about how you're being involved outside of work. What are you doing? Are you mentoring others? Do you participate in anything? Do you have volunteer experience? Have you started an organization? Be sure to include all of that and address it any and every opportunity you can in the interview, in the essay, whenever you can, and speak with alums about your interests. Look for those programs that possibly have interest in those areas as well. So social entrepreneurship is awesome. Again, that engagement, that leadership, that volunteer work, it means so much to those MBA programs to give back to their communities. And then, of course, fit. And what does that mean? That word program fit would always be it kind of feels sometimes elusive and evasive, because what exactly does it mean in terms of program fit? It can mean a variety of different things. So while many business schools have their academic profiles available for you on their websites, that's one way to start. So you want to take a look at your academic profile and the academic profile of the schools that you're interested in. Again, those are not necessarily cutoffs. However, they should provide you with an idea of what the school has admitted in the past. And you can then decide for yourself in a roundabout way what it takes. So we would admit students at Emory who were at that average, below that average, above that average, all around, because there were so many other things, of course, that we were looking for. So you want to look for that program fit along those academic profile lines. However, again, there's so many other things. Look at the academic offerings. What are the specialties of that program? What are they known for? Have you found a professor that you want to engage with and learn from and research with? Is there anything along those lines that you see? Learn about how large the program is. Is it much smaller? Is it larger? How best do you learn? And that is also very important in knowing yourself and how best you learn. Do you want to be in larger classes or smaller classes? That's up to you as well. So many different programs, so many different sizes. So you want to take a look into that as well. Again, we just talked about the activities and the social engagement and all of that. So take a look. Is the school very involved in the community? Does that mean something to you? That would be something to take a look at. And you want to be involved in those things as well. So when you're looking at program fit, there are so many different things for you to take a look at. Again, that academic fit, academic profile, so you have some idea around those areas. You also want to take a look at the size of the program. Does it fit your size, your learning style, how best you learn? That would be also something to take a look at. You also want to look at how that program is involved in the community. If that really means a lot to you, you have that option as well. The other thing I will also throw out there is location. What type of location will work best for you? Do you want sunny weather? Do you want cold weather? Do you not mind cold weather? Do you want someone at school in a big city or a much smaller town? There are so many different options available for you. Does access to companies mean something to you? That is also something to take a look at whether or not there are headquarters of different companies that you're interested in, and if whether or not that school is in that particular area, because you may have much better access and accessibility to those companies for your internships and future placement. So those are some things to take a look at and think about in general as you're thinking about program fit.